Hey everybody, what's up? It's Chapman here, and on this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to build 3 easy furnace XP farms. These can smelt anywhere from 4,000 to over 20,000 items per hour. All 3 designs are going to include an auto fuel reloader, so you don't have to do any of the busy work. And again, because we're using furnaces, all of these can be used as an XP bank. And depending on your size and needs, or whatever build you're doing, you can set these up in whichever style or design you want. It's really up to you. Now, first one up is going to be the 12 furnace design. This does about 4,000 items per hour. These are all of the items that you are going to need right here. In order to collect the XP, make sure you bring along enough blocks plus redstone in order to lock the furnaces and pull the items out of it. And to start, we are going to build a 2-wide platform that is 5 blocks long in total. On the back left side of this platform, we're going to build up 3 blocks in total with our builder blocks. On the back right side, we're going to build out 1 and then forward 1. Coming to the back side where we just stepped this out, we're going to build a 2x2 platform and then bring this over 4 blocks in total and up 1. We're going to place another solid block in this opposite corner from where we just built it up, with 2 more solid blocks coming down in the corner right there. With that all done, that is what you should have for your base platform. With that done, we're just going to place a furnace right here on the front and then a hopper going into the back of it for reference. And coming to the back side here, we're going to work on the refuel system. So starting from behind this hopper, we're going to place down a comparator with a redstone block beside it, and then a redstone repeater with 3 more redstone dusts coming out of the repeater, a redstone torch, and then beside this torch, we are going to need a comparator facing out towards the back, a redstone block beside it, an observer facing down into the comparator, okay, so its face is going down and its butt is going up, sticky piston on top of his butt facing out, and then from here, we are going to run a single detector rail beside the comparator with 5 powered rails coming out from that detector rail. Next, we're going to remove this block temporarily. My voice just cracked. Place down a temporary rail to get the detector rail to ascend, remove it, and then replace our solid block. And with all of that done right there, now what we're going to do is we are going to grab our fuel source, and we are going to fill both the furnace with a full stack and this hopper completely full with our fuel. And with our fuel in place, we are going to come back to this first powered rail right here. We're going to place a fence gate sideways over top of it, a slime block on the sticky piston with a solid block below it, and then we are going to place down our minecart and then take a lever and power all of these rails. They're already going to be powered, but you can see that if we remove our minecart and turn this rail off, they're actually not, so we need to power those. And then from here, we just need to place down a double chest. This is going to be for our fuel. You can see here, it is getting loaded up. And now you want to fill this chest with your fuel source. And once it is full, everything is going to get pulled down into this minecart. And you can see that got pushed out. We actually want those back in and attached to that sticky piston. So with the minecart full, that comparator on and reading, we want everything right there to look like that. But now from here, we're going to run the remaining 11 furnaces that we have coming off of the end here, with 11 hoppers going into the back of them. We're going to run a row of hoppers going into the top of them. This is going to be for the input. And then down here at the end for these hoppers, we're going to do the same thing for both of them. We're going to come out 2 and then up 1. And then for each set of hoppers, we are going to run 2 powered rails going forward. You want to make sure these going forward. It can be tricky. And then we are going to power them. With that done, on the backside here, we're just going to connect the rest up with our regular rails. And then for our input system, we're just going to steal this 1 block right here, and we are going to place it beside that detector rail. And then from here, we are going to go powered rail, regular rail, powered, powered, powered. And then we're going to finish this off with our regular rails. With that done, we are just going to come back down here to the front, and we are going to power these powered rails right here. We're going to place a lever on this block, a double chest above this powered rail, finish it off with our input chest, a barrel down here at the front, and then run the rest of your collection hoppers going into that barrel. And now what you're going to do before you start smelting items with this is you want to come to the backside here, is we're going to open and close this gate once, and we're going to send the minecart out and have it put as much fuel in these other furnaces as you want. So if you want to run this and send this out like 9 times, you can go for it. You can see I've already done it a couple times, and each one here has 6 fuel inside of it, except for the first one, which is full. And basically how this system works is this comparator right here, it has a full strength input coming into the side of it. So the only way for it to send out a signal and turn off that redstone torch and hold that minecart in place is by maintaining or keeping this hopper full right here. As soon as this hopper burns through one item, you can see the fuel card sends out and refills this thing here, turning our redstone torch back off. And back here at the start, the way this system is working is basically this comparator is doing the same thing. It has a full input coming into the side of it, so it is detecting a full minecart with hopper here. So when the minecart is full, you want everything to look like that, all nice and compact. Because what is going to happen here is if this minecart right here is not full of items, this observer is going to detect that this comparator is off, push these blocks out, ensuring that this solid block is never above that torch, and that minecart can never send out. So you want to make sure that you always have fuel in the system, because if this thing here is in full, you can see there's no possible way, and when it does fill, everything goes back to normal. Hopefully that wasn't too complicated. I mean, it's really easy. But now, to run this, all we have to do is either just turn it on. We're going to turn it on first just to send it out so you guys can see. And then all we are going to do is fill this with our fuel source. This thing here is going to grab 12 items. You've seen it. And then from here, we are in business. This minecart is going to come back and forwards, pulling 12 items every single time. Okay, this thing here is going to smelt 4,000 items per hour. It's pretty sick. It's pretty slick. You can squeeze that into anywhere. And like I said, if you burn through a piece of fuel, the minecart is just going to send out and do everything for you. You can even put a light on your fuel box if you would like to, just so that way you know. Just so you know when you are out of fuel and you are going to have to stock it back up. Okay, but there it is right there. There is furnace number 1. Remember, in order to get your experience from these, all we need to do is run a row of blocks in front of our furnaces, and then a row of redstone in front of them. We can place a lever anywhere along here in order to lock these. And once our item comes in, all we have to do is just pull it from here, and we get our experience from it. So you can let this cook and do whatever you want for however long you want. You can just turn this off. But that is it right there. Furnace number 1. Okay, next up is going to be the 32 furnace version. This one smelts 10,000 items per hour. 10,000. These are the items you need. Same thing. Bring along enough blocks and redstone in order to lock however many furnaces that you do have. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build a 4-wide platform and make that 7 blocks long in total. In 3 of these corners, we are going to build this up 2 blocks high in total. In the front right corner, we're going to place down a redstone block. And then again, for reference, we are going to place a furnace beside the redstone block with another furnace behind this back block, a hopper going into the back of each one of these furnaces with another hopper going into the top. Off of this front left corner here, we're going to build out 3 blocks and then up 1. We are going to step this one up one more time and then come forward 3 blocks into the center. And then with everything all done, that is what you should have right there. And now with that done, we're going to start with the refuel system first again. So we're going to place down a comparator with 2 pieces of redstone dust and then a repeater. A solid block at the end of that repeater with a redstone torch on it. From here, we're going to place a redstone block in this corner right there with a comparator facing towards the center. And with all of that in place, we're going to take a detector rail and then we're going to place 2 powered rails, turn towards the center here, and then run 2 more powered rails going towards the hoppers and 2 more regular rails coming across. With that done, we're going to place a redstone torch here in the corner to power these rails. We're going to remove this block, place a redstone torch opposite from that repeater, and then replace that block above it in order to power these rails. Next, what we want to do is we want to actually remove this block right here, remove this block right here, and then we need to make sure that this detector rail is ascending upwards. Replace this solid block, and with that all done, that is the first part of your refuel system done. Next, we're going to place a gate sideways above this first powered rail right there, an observer facing down into that comparator. with a sticky piston on top facing forward. So that observer is facing down, sticky piston on top. And then from here, we are going to now jump over to the input system. So same thing, we're going to start out with our detector rail, 7 powered rails coming out from that detector rail. As you can see, we don't need to power those because of the redstone block, but we do need to remove this block and place down a temporary rail to get that detector rail pointing up. From here, we're going to take another comparator and we're going to place it beside the detector rail, pointing in with a temporary block above it and then another sticky piston facing forwards. I guess we didn't even need that, but we can just remove it. Next, we're going to place another gate above that powered rail right there. And then from here, we need to go temporary block with a honey block and then a redstone block beside it. Remove that temporary block. Beside the honey block, we are going to go slime block with a solid block underneath it. And with those in place, now what we're going to do is come around to the left side and we're going to place down a comparator with a repeater set to the last tick, 2 pieces of redstone coming up with 2 more repeaters going forward set to the last tick, and then an observer behind the sticky piston facing into the repeaters. So its face is coming forwards. And now with that all complete, that is our input system done. The only thing we need now is our double chests. And we are going to place one above this detector rail with another one above the opposite detector rail. And then same thing as the other furnace. Take your fuel sources and fill both this hopper here beside the comparator full with your items, as well as fill the furnace completely full, because we have a full input signal coming into the side of the comparator. When the hopper is full, it is going to output the signal and turn off that torch. From here, we're going to put our minecart in place, and then we're going to fill this fuel hopper right here completely full. And once it is completely full, the minecart is going to fill. Once it fills, that block is going to get pulled in. You can see our comparator is powered. And now that is the exact same setup as the other farm. Because this is reading a full input from this, it is not going to send out the minecart unless it is full. And once this hopper here from this first furnace runs out of a piece of coal, it'll send out and call for that minecart. Now, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take our furnaces and we're going to run 2 full complete rows of 16 with the hoppers going both into the back and the tops of the furnaces. And with those done, down here at the end, in the center on the lower, we're just going to build this out 1 block. And then for the upper, we're going to build out and up 1 and then run this row across. We are going to place 2 redstone torches in the center. We're also going to remove this block here. And then from here, on either side, we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4 powered rails. We're going to connect these using regular rails at the end. And then on the front side here, we're just going to finish this off with our regular rails, with more regular rails on the back side coming all the way back to the solid block at the front here. And then from here, we are going to go glass, iron trap door, 3 regular rails coming towards the powered rails there. And then from here, we should be able to safely place 7 powered rails on each side underneath these redstone torches. Right like that. From here, we're just going to come back to this regular rail and we're just going to connect these up to the powered rails. We're going to run the back chain here back all the way towards this loop. And as long as your rails look like that, you are officially done. And now the only thing left to do is put our input minecart in place and then decide where you want to put your collection chest. I'm going to choose these 2 middle ones right here. And I'm going to run all of my hoppers going into that chest right there. For the backside here, you want to make sure that you dig it out and drop your hoppers down at least 1 more, so that way they're not pulling from your fuel hoppers that are literally right there. And now, with all of your hoppers run and connected into this 1 chest, we're going to do the same thing as the opposite one. We're just going to open and close this, and we're going to send our fuel cart out to put 1 or 2 pieces of fuel in each one of these furnaces here. Okay, that's 3 fuel in each furnace. Same thing as the opposite farm. You could always just put a comparator with a light on this thing, so that way you know when you're getting low or when you're out of fuel. And now using this furnace is this simple. And you just walk away. You never have to show up again. You never have to come back again. 10,000 items per hour. We're not missing or skipping a single furnace. There's our second piece. And we are doing it efficiently enough that we are actually keeping up and ahead of all of the furnaces. See, watch, this one's gonna cook, and here comes the minecart. We're good. So 10,000 items per hour right there. If you want 20, you can just double this up if you want to, so put them side by side. And basically how the system works is very simple. This comparator right here is going to detect whether there is even one item inside of that minecart when it comes back. And then we're basically just using a delay here to get up to this observer, which is powering the door opener here. And the delay is long enough that we're getting 64 items plus extra every single time. So no matter what, with this furnace, you are going to burn every single item that you put in that chest above you. It doesn't matter. You could even put one item in there. You could literally put one item in here, and this system is going to detect it and send it out to get smelted, and you will end up with nothing left in this chest up here. Now, this one's done. Let's move on to the 64 version. And then as for the 64 version, you guessed it. It is the exact same build, literally, as the 32 version. You're just adding your furnaces in whichever style or design that you want to. You're just bringing along 3 extra repeaters and setting them up behind the delay here that is behind the input chest. So bring them along, set them all to the last tick, and then run them up. It is literally the exact same system. And with that delay, you are still efficient enough to keep up with this system right here, even with the bend in it. So the bend is there, the minecart does its thing, and it comes around, and then look it. It is about to burn out. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only a 4-second delay. So if you put a bend on this, that is literally about the max that you can put on this thing without having to double up the entire system. If you do your 64 furnaces in a straight line like this, the efficiency is even better, and there's only like a 2.5-second delay. But to build the 64 version, I'm gonna leave that completely up to you guys. You either double this sucker up like on the old versions, or you just put up with the 3.9-second delay that it takes for this to get its fuel back. I mean, you could even stack your furnaces like this if you want to, and it'd still be respectfully efficient. This one's about to burn out, and here it comes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It takes 5 seconds. So you can see, it's totally up to you how you want to put on the extra 32 furnaces if you want to extend this. And again, in order to get your XP from these things, all you need to do is obviously just reroute your chests differently, because we're going to be placing solid blocks in front of these things, covering all of these solid blocks with some redstone dust, powering them, and then just pulling your item when it's ready. So let these things cook to allow your XP to build up. This is literally the rates. This is the rates of the 32 version. It's pretty crazy. 10,000 items per hour. That one right there is 20,000 items per hour. But that's it. That's how you build them. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.